All right, beautiful people, let's get in here. We have got some freedom to distribute for everybody, and that's going to be a key word for later on, distribution. Of course, this is Langley Outdoors. I am Braden. I'm pretty much the arbiter of goodness for the 2A this morning, I think. I'm just kidding. This is Langley Outdoors. We talk about the gun world, but we also talk about what's going on in our country to make freedom for the next generation the same as we have, if not better. Now, what we're going to talk about this morning is the SCOTUS action, which, to be quite honest, has got a lot of very breathless reaction. Everything is blowing up. Guys, it's not that serious right now. I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade at anything. I'm just saying, keep your heads, as the thumbnail says, hold your friggin' horses. I want to walk you through what actually just happened and everything that we have to look forward to. So, if you guys are looking for that freedom, you want to pass it on, you enjoy some 2A love, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. We're distributing freedom all the time. And again, look at that. There's that word distributed again. So as you guys get in here, make sure we are 5x5. Excellent. We've got audio. We've got video. Let me show you what's actually going on, because we've been on SCOTUS watch all day. All week. We were waiting on Monday and some action came down, but I want to show you what actually came down, because again, there's a lot of breathlessness going on. Watch. Okay. Again, not throwing shade at any individual at all, whether you're personal, private, peer, anything. This is literally what's happening because there's a lot of energy pent up. I understand this is our Second Amendment rights, totally with you. But let me show you what actually happened, okay? So, what I have pulled up here is the Snopes case, or the Snope case, which is the assault weapons ban case. And then over here, I have the Ocean State Tactical case, which are the mag ban cases, okay? Those are the two ones that we care about. Those are the ones that are the big ticket items that we're chasing for this term. Now, before I go into those, I'm going to show you, or I'm going to tell you about what got denied cert. And I'm going to kind of translate what that would, at least in my opinion, mean. But again, keep calm and carry on, all right? When you're looking at the two cases which got denied cert today, they were ancillary cases to what we were talking about, okay? You had a shall issue from, I believe it was Maryland. And that case is being litigated, and it's going to come back at another time. That one we weren't even expecting. Then you had another one which was talking about the different ways injunctions go through. Again, not what we were expecting, not a surprise. But we were kind of just being like, oh, that'd be nice if, but not the ones we're watching. So the SCOTUS action on those cases is nothing to hang our heads about. Those are not the ones we want. These are the ones that we want. These are the cases we watch. Okay, let me just show you. So in the Snope case, again, this is the AWB one. All right, if I scroll down here, and this is from the SupremeCourt.gov, this is the actual document. And the reason that I'm kind of going at it from this angle is I was collecting all the documents over the last hour and a half, and it got really breathless. Like it got really into like a little bit of a feeding frenzy, and I'm kind of like, well, what are we freaking out about? All right, watch. So this is the history on the Snope case. This is the assault weapons ban case. November 26th, distributed for conference on 12/13. 12/13 comes around, it got rescheduled. Okay. January 6th, this is what we covered last week. Distributed for conference on 1/10/2025. Okay. It didn't happen on the 10th. We got pushed to Monday, which is today the 13th. January 13th, it got distributed for conference on the 17th. Guys, all that happened was instead of being scheduled on this past Friday, and there was like all sorts of reading into why this was a bad thing, which it wasn't. It was just logistics. And then we got told this morning that it got pushed to the 17th. It literally got pushed from the 10th to the 17th. That's it. The conversation just got moved 7 calendar days. Now, you could also, well, I'll go into that in a second, but that's all that happened on the AWB case. So this was not a scenario where we got screwed and we got these huge losses. Hold your freaking horses. All that happened was they moved 7 days. Okay, now let's go to the mag ban case. This is the Ocean State Tactical case. Again, it was fascinating because I was collecting all this stuff for you guys, and then we got into a little bit of a firestorm. Not poking at Los Angeles, but legitimately. Look, the exact same thing. This is the mag ban case. December 9th, distributed for conference 12/13. December 11th, rescheduled. January 6th, distributed for conference on 1/10, which is what we were talking about prior. 1/10 rolls around, didn't hear anything on Friday. January 13 became the day, and now today it's been distributed for conference on the 17th. That's it. So literally the exact same thing happened in both of those cases. assault weapons ban case from Maryland, Snope versus Brown case, and the Ocean Tactical with the magazines. Both of them got rescheduled for 7 calendar days. Like, I'm all for paying attention to this, watching like a hawk, but let's not get breathless and ahead of ourselves. Because literally all that happened was it moved 7 calendar days. Now, here's where we can go a little bit beyond the pale and kind of say, here's what could mean. This is all interpretation. This is all conjecture. Okay? If you're looking at these two cases, and let me go up here one more time to the actual case, Ocean State Tactical, and then you go up here to the Snope case, AWB and mag bans. So if you had 4 2A cases coming into this, and 2 of them are denied cert, which is what we're talking about with the different shall issue and the different injunction interpretation, those get tossed away because they aren't interesting to the SCOTUS. But the 2 ones that we care about are pushed a week to have another conversation around. If they were going to deny everything, why would they not just deny everything today? I'm genuinely just asking you a question. You guys can let me know in the chat. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense that if you had 4 2A cases and the SCOTUS was going to destroy all of them, that they only took 2 away, but they had 2 the next day. It's conjecture. It's complete subjective opinion, but it does not mean it's a bad piece or a bad sign. It just means the conversation moved from the 10th to the 17th. All right, let me jump into the chat real quick. So, and this is actually an interesting comment my eyes jumped to first. Be prepared to be disappointed. SCOTUS will not hear these cases. So, let's have a conversation about that. Excuse me. I'm not going to be disappointed. I'm not going to be upset until I have a reason to be so. Right? We were told that the Bruin decision would never make it in. It's a sitting SCOTUS decision. We were said that Trump would never be allowed to be elected. He got elected. Republicans would never take the House and never take the Senate. It happened. We'll never get a national concealed carry reciprocity. It's on the doorstep. My whole point is everything's impossible until it happens. I'm going to keep pushing on this. I'm going to keep on pushing on all these things for our Second Amendment rights now and also for our children in the future. But I'm not going to shoot it out of the air before it even has a chance to land. That's kind of my thought on that. I'm not going to be prepared to be disappointed. I'm going to push forward with the best hope possible. Anyway, that's me. Get ready for an incident this week. Can't speak to that, Jeff. Let's see here. All right, so Tyler Duncan says, only thing could be that there is a dissent in the denial, but I think it is more likely a good sign. Again, all we're doing at this point is reading tea leaves and adding conjecture to a conversation that we do not know the answer to. I can tell you, and I know for 100% certainty, that they have relisted it from today the 13th to Friday the 17th. Guaranteed, 100%, absolutely. It's on the website. Everything's linked. I always link everything. Bring receipts every time. So, to me, it looks promising. But again, I can't tell you what's going to be the outcome. USAF Raven says Heller was the same way. True. The cases will be relisted. Well, I actually just showed you guys, if you are just now coming in, this is the AWB case. It actually got distributed for conference to the 17th. So it's actually on the actual SCOTUS. So that is the schedule. So this coming Friday, they're going to have the conversation. Same thing on the mag bans right here. This is Ocean State right there. Distributed for conference. Now, again, I am all for paying really close attention to this, and I'm all for bringing you the most up-to-date, cutting-edge stuff, but also you have to be objective. All right. It can go either way. DJ, yeah, it can go either way. 100%. It can absolutely go either way. But all I can tell you is right now that for the 17th, that's when they're going to have the conversation of when it could go either way. The anti-gun crap has been going on for far too long. 100%. 100%. Wilma, so they're dangling a carrot on a string. Not really. If you're going to use an analogy, I would say not so much dangling the carrot on the string. I would say more so kicking the can down the road. That would be more likely. David Fields says it's called Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law is, I don't really see how that applies. The worst possible scenario can happen. It's gonna. I don't think so. Not in this case. Limpet Arch. Now, this is an interesting statement. As you guys are getting in here, I'll kind of revisit this in a second. But David Field says, Limpet Arch says, states will take care of the problem ever since Bruin dropped. They did take that angle, and if they take that angle, it's going to be a problem with the AR bans, because in that case, they would say you can do certain things in anti-2A states and other things in 2A states, which would circumvent the entire point of the Supreme Court hearing. So I don't know if they'll do that in the AR bans, because the Bruin decision, even though they did do a state approach, they also set an overall barrier standard that said, no, you're going to have a shall issue, 100%. Like, you're going to do it, and then you make up your own licensing regimes, which is why the fight moved from the broad down to the micro. That's why we continue to do it. And then they set up a new standard in the Bruin decision, which would be the really big part of the AWB ban decision or mag ban decision, because then they can say you can, you can't. These are the details. I mean, that's where the big stuff comes in. All right. True facts. Optics. Roberts likes all the T's crossed and I's dotted. Yes, he does. Kind of looks like they're waiting on something to happen. Can't speak to that. I don't really know. Here we go. Rick Roche says, the normal routine is to conference twice. It means the clerks have another 7 days to recheck that there are no problems, like it's a mute loss of standing, etc. So basically, they're just curing the cases. That's what Rick is saying. Now, I'm not involved in the SCOTUS. Like, I can't tell you what they're actually doing. It does check out and make sense that they would want to double check their answers or double check their homework on very big cases like this. It does make sense. Trump needs a Pope mobile. Okay, all right, I dig it. I'm just kind of catching up on some of the chats while we were walking through this. Okay on 7 days. Cool, sweet. All right, let me get right back down here, and I'll kind of catch you guys up if you're just now coming in, because a bunch of you are just now coming in. Murphy's Law, what can go wrong, Will? Yeah, worst case scenario will always happen, right? So if you guys are just now coming in, let me just kind of briefly, not go over, that's kind of dumb. Briefly repeat this. The Snope case, the AWB case, this has been rescheduled to the 17th, okay? Distributed for conference on the 17th. This is the AWB one. The two cases that were destroyed this morning and weren't granted cert, were kicked back down to the lower courts, were the ancillary cases that we were not hoping and watching for. This is one that we are hoping and watching for. We're still in. So keep that in mind. It just got pushed 7 days, calendar days. That's it. It was distributed for conference on the 10th. Now it's on the 17th. It is that simple. All right, mag bans, Ocean State, same thing. This is what we've been waiting for. The exact same scenario, distributed for conference. Keep our heads in the game, on a swivel, not breathless, not freaking out, not throwing out all sorts of conjecture. This is all we know. It got distributed for conference, and the two cases that got kicked out were other 2A cases, which if they were going to kick out all 4 cases, which they had, they just would have kicked out all 4 cases. That's what I can tell you. In my opinion, it looks promising, because they didn't just kick it straight to the curb. There's conjecture in the chat right here that it's because they're checking they're crossing their T's, dotting their I's. Totally possible. I cannot tell you what they're doing, but I can tell you 100% that they just pushed it 7 days. It is not the end of the world. I can tell you that for dang sure. All right. Anyone else who wants to chat over here? Threw it in here. 1 week to Trump. Actually, that's an interesting point, Fred. They actually kicked it very close to the Trump inauguration. It's true. So if we win both, what's next? And this is where it's interesting, guys, because the AWBs and the mag bans, it's the same principle. We're banning things because we don't like the 2A. Those are the two that remained in and didn't get kicked out. So it is interesting. Now, where does that go after that? It completely depends on the opinion. It depends on the concurring opinions. It depends, well, not really on the dissent. The dissent is just for us. But the concurring opinions and how they actually set out the standard going forward, that one, the history, text, and tradition of the Bruin decision, that was a big part of it. So, we'll see. I honestly don't know. It's completely possible that they say you can't ban anything. It's completely possible they do a mealy-mouthed approach where they say, well, you have to abide by the Second Amendment as defined in Heller. There's lots of things. They could put out a new standard for what is military standard, what is not military standard. There's so many things that they could do, but that's a long way from here. All we're doing at this point is we're in conference to decide if they're going to take up these cases. So the path of this would be, we're going to have a conversation, maybe next week. And then after that conversation, they decide if they're going to hear the cases. If they hear the cases, then they have to go to the court hearing. Court hearing is that step, and then after that, 6 months later, you hear an actual opinion. So this is a long road. We're not at the end of this yellow brick road at all. But that's what we'd have to do. I'd really like to have my rights restored while I'm still alive. Talk about a right delayed. You know what? I like that. I like that's the, here. Go team. Mike Bolton, this is an interesting question. Riddle me this. How are exemptions in gun laws for LEOs, law enforcement officers, and military even legal when the entire purpose of the 2A is equal access to arms by both governments? That's a very good question, Mike. In fact, the gun controllers like to do this. They like to do this thing where they put in exemptions for law enforcement officers and exemptions for military and gun control states with gun control legislation. I honestly don't understand how that is constitutional because you're making a special class of person. I mean, I don't know. To me, I kind of agree with you on that. David Fields, all we can do is wait and see. Correct. That's exactly correct. The exemption BS, you guys are hitting that again. I thought full auto was military AWB back in the 80s when I was a kid. Please pray for me. We'll pray for all of us. We will. So yeah, it looks like you guys are on the ball here. Let me know if I landed that plane. I kind of smoothed out the ground a little bit because the initial reaction to this was very breathless and very spinny. But anyway, hope that helped you guys. Hope that worked out. Hope I landed that plane and described what was going on for your viewing pleasure. And I'll see you on the next one, guys.